Hello, Angela Coté here, and I am so excited to bring you Jennifer Blair, founder and co-CEO of Deka Lash. Today, we're going to be talking about how franchising empowers and builds confidence for women. Now, just for a bit of context here, my background comes from my upbringing with the family business, M&M Food Market. My dad is the founder, and over the years, we grew to almost 500 locations. And so I'm really excited about this topic today because I grew up in a very male dominated world. I am very fortunate to have had a father who really believed in me and mentored me and wanted to see me do well. But I have to say, it wasn't always easy. For sure, I got the stink eye a lot from male franchisees when I would show up to help them with their business as this young female 20-year-old boss's daughter. So I learned a lot about how to navigate around men in business and got to see the change over the years of women getting more involved in the workforce. So that's been really cool. So I am really excited to get to talk to female rock stars like Jennifer Blair. I'm always really inspired by self-made women. Women that saw an opportunity, which we'll get into in just a minute, and hear that story. So I think I've really been fueled by stories like Jennifer's to be successful, to try to be successful myself. So we're going to get into that. I also always have to give a shout out to the CFA for the amazing work that the CFA does to educate people about franchising, to protect the franchising model, and to really bring people together. So big shout out to the CFA. All right, Jennifer, are you ready to get rolling?
I am ready. So
Awesome.
yes, and your story inspires me as well. So I'm very happy to be on this podcast with you today.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, yeah, and I'm super honored to get to guest host and share my story and then use that to kind of work through helping other people understand, franchising and business in general. So okay, to get started, let's hear your story. Tell us about the Deka Lash concept and why you founded it. This is what I find really inspiring to hear from the beginning.
Yeah. So, originally Deka Lash was founded as a way to make lashes more affordable, more convenient for the everyday person. When I originally started getting lashes myself, they were very expensive. They also were more of an add-on service in a salon. They weren't specific to just that one service. And not very many people were specializing in that. So when I was getting my lashes done, not only was it expensive, but it was also really hard to find an appointment. And I kind of saw a gap in that and thought that maybe I could help. And originally it was not to start a brand or, a franchise or even multi-studios. It was just like, oh, if I'm having trouble, other people are too. So, maybe I will offer the service and make it convenient for people and affordable. And that's basically how it started off. I went to my husband and I said, what do you think about? I was considering going back to work. I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. We have 4 children and, it was just time to kind of get out there and start making some extra money. 4 kids are expensive. And I also I wanted to get out of the house and I wanted to do something fun. I love talking to people. I love being around other women and I love beauty. I love making people feel good. So it just seemed like, like something that I was going to enjoy. It wasn't really going to seem like work to me. But quickly, after offering the service, I had a good friend in a salon. I rented a room from him. And it wasn't too long after, maybe a few months where I was like, you know what, this is more than what I thought it was. The way that the women were feeling after they got the service done, and the smiles, the compliments, everything that they were getting out of the service, I was like, this is more than me just getting out of work and making it convenient. I felt like I was really changing people's lives and making an impact. And I got really passionate about what I was doing and wanted to make it bigger than my initial thought of just, going back to work and doing the service myself. So it quickly grew beyond me.
That is so awesome. I was just reflecting on my first time getting lashes done and how, so I was at my salon and my hairstylist was doing my hair. And I said, something about, I was really excited because I was going to be getting a photo shoot for something. And she's like, oh, well, where are you getting your lashes done? And I was like, wait, I have to get my lashes done? Like, okay. So she told me, yeah, like, I mean, if it makes so much difference. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I did it. And it was amazing. It's amazing when these little things, how much it can help our confidence. And especially again, being female and feeling like sometimes we need to stand out and, just feel more confident around the people that we're working around. And I also just love that you like, yeah, we were like, I'm just going to go do this thing and make some money, on the side. And you realized right away it took off, and love that it's specialized. Like, I get it. Like, lashes are not easy for people to just do. It requires a lot of like patience and probably a steady hand and all these things. And I'd rather someone do mine that really gets good at it rather than just, I do once or twice every now and then.
Well, and that's, when I first started doing the lashes and I was, still renting the room, and I was very proud of what I did. So I always, would talk about the lashes and try to educate people who didn't really know about them. And I would run into people just in the industry because I was in the industry and talking to other people, and they're like, oh yeah, I took that class, I took that class too. And I just couldn't do it. And it's, it was just too hard. And I, it's when I realized that if you don't specialize in it, then, you don't really get to become good at it. And that was the difference that I saw early on when we decided to just move into only lashes and have our first standalone studio, was that people were driving from like hour and a half just to come to us because we specialize in that service and we were really, really good at it. And that was what we built, everything on, is we specialize in what we do and we're really good at it. So it's an intricate, lashes takes a steady hand, and yeah, it definitely isn't something that you can pick up overnight. That's for sure.
Yeah, it makes so much sense that that specializing, like I think about certain services that I could get, my nails done or something. You can maybe get away with somebody that doesn't only do that. But yeah, that makes so much sense. So I'm getting the feeling that's a big part of what makes Deka Lash so awesome, unique. It's that would you say that it's the specializing? Is there anything else that you would add that makes Deka Lash awesome and unique compared to maybe other lash only places?
So, I mean, I think, we use a lot of, was the question like, what makes us unique and specialized? Yeah. I think that we really focus on the customer. And I believe that comes from me being one of the, the CEO of the company, being a consumer myself, and actually, doing the lashes. I just know how important it is that the end user is happy in their service. So, we continue just to push, through that. As far as with technology, we want to hear from our customers, about the service. We have many different ways that, right after the service is done, we ask for feedback, and make sure that we're doing the service right. And we do that even internally with our lash artists and our franchisees. We have a very open communication with everybody. We have a platform that we use that we can chat. They can offer suggestions. We give feedback. And I think, when you come together as a whole and you're not just a leadership team trying to make decisions on what we think are right, and we really take in what other people who are on the front line and doing the service or having the service done, and we take that in to just make sure that we are the best that we can be. And I hear that, there's not a lot of franchisors out there like that, they don't necessarily, because not all feedback is good feedback. So you've got to be able to know that that's okay. And you're going to hear that, but take that and learn from it. And, see if you can do anything better with it. So, I mean, I think that's, one thing that we stand out from is, and then just our model in general, we try to make it very efficient. Every square foot in our locations, we want to make it generating revenue. So we don't have a front desk person. We have an automatic check-in whenever you walk into the door through our app. So there's we have a customer service center where we handle all of the calls. So you're not hearing a phone ring or anything like that inside the studio. That's not one less overhead person that you're having to deal with. So yeah, we do a couple different things, but I think it's basically the customer focus, whether it's the client or a franchisee, that's who we're focused on.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize that because we don't yet have a Deka Lash where I live, which I'm hoping someday soon. So by the way, if anybody's listening and they live in Victoria, British Columbia, and you're thinking of becoming a franchisee, keep listening. Yeah, that's really neat though, that you don't have a front desk. Like it's, especially in this day and age, that sounds funny, but during these times where it can be tough to get employees, that there's a solution to that, and it makes it less overhead. So that's really cool. And I really love that you said how much you listen to the front line, that you listen to your franchisees, because and that you acknowledge it's not always going to be good feedback, but it's going to help you be better. And you're right, not all franchisors do that. So that's awesome that there's that good communication. So let's talk a little bit now about how eyelash extensions empower and provide confidence to women. I mentioned this earlier, I experienced that myself. So whether the women are owners or clients or your lash artists providing your services, so how do eyelash extensions empower and provide confidence?
Well, I think that just in general, when you look better, you feel better, and then if you feel better, then you're more productive. And at the end of being more productive is being more successful. So, you put all of those together, and that's, just what really helps build that confidence. And that's what lashes do. And it seems silly. And, when you were talking earlier on about, male dominant, and, sometimes they don't really get that piece of, that empower you, like the lashes empower you, and they give you confidence, and they just do. That was a big challenge of mine in the beginning, when I first started pitching this idea that this could be a franchise and this is a business. And they were questioning a business just on eyelashes. Well, what else do you do? And eyelashes, women want eyelashes, and it makes them feel good. And that's early on what I found too. When I did the service, it was that self-confidence, that empowerment. I mean, they walked out differently than they came in. I had a friend of mine that I had made through my boys' football team, and she was a pretty plain lady. She didn't wear a lot of makeup, usually just came to practice with t-shirt, and just like that's she was just plain there for kids and didn't do a lot to herself. You could tell, she just, and that's, people do that. And she came, so I think I might get the lashes. I'm like, I think you should, you don't wear a lot of makeup, but that's okay, because lashes, that's what they do. You don't have to wear a lot of makeup. And she was like one of the first clients that we had in, and a friend. And I can tell you that she walked that football field so much differently after that she wore lashes than she did before. And that was another one of my first aha moments, where I was like, look at this. This is somebody who doesn't spend a lot of time on herself. And now she's wearing lashes, and she's just, and that was a client back in 2012, I think, one of the first ones. And she still comes in and gets lashes today. So every once in a while I'm in my home studio here, and I still see her, but they do. It really is it's a confidence booster, and it just makes you feel, like you can conquer the world.
That's awesome. And just I imagine then, like the lash artists and the franchisees that are providing this, just the good feelings that come from that. I like to think for women, I kind of like to think of things like that, like lashes and doing things to help us feel more confident as like a secret weapon, like,
yeah.
Like if you can be like, if you can have that level of confidence and look that good and be smart, like look out, world.
Right. Yeah.
So
I know. And
That's
I think, yeah, for on the like back to the lash artist side too, it's an instant gratification. That's what lashes are. So whenever you're able to provide that instant gratification, like a facial or a massage, just those take a little bit of time to work through. But when you're able to give somebody, something immediately that they can be like, oh my gosh, they look in their mirror and see that right away, that's a good feeling, I think, in this industry, as a esthetician or a cosmetologist, when you can give that immediate satisfaction, they feel very fulfilled at the end of their day.
It's interesting. Something just hit me that with all the choices that we can choose to enhance our beauty, whether it's things for our hair, our lips, our nails, or whatever it is.
Right.
The eyes are probably one of the most important things because it's your where you communicate from, and it's what you're looking at when you're talking to people. So
Yeah.
yeah, that I hadn't really thought of it that way. Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. I
Cool.
agree.
Okay. So Deka Lash has opened. This is crazy. This is awesome and crazy. Crazy awesome. More than 100 studios in less than 5 years. Like every time I've thought about that with you, I'm just like, it's so amazing. So how did you achieve this quick growth?
Well, in franchising, I think it's like your first 10 franchisees who really help you grow. So I would put it back to thanking them, and being the first ones and being able to help prove out the model. Originally, we had 4 studios in Pittsburgh before we started to grow, and those were my own studios. And it was, I think, just getting that validation that it can work otherwise, outside of Pittsburgh. So that really helped. We surrounded ourselves with people who are expert in franchising, who were also franchisees of other brands, also. So we looked at it as, what do you wish you would have had when you were the franchisee of this franchisor? And that's how we built it, inside out. And that's the way we looked at it. Like, what can we make sure that, we want to do good? And like I said, we didn't have the franchising background. So I think bringing a team in who had that experience really helped us out too, because we knew the business, we knew lashes. My husband's big on technology and all of that. But I think just surrounding ourselves with the right team who have been there, done that, are also part of that team, but into Deka Lash. They also had studios of their own too. So that really helped, because you have like feet on, you have feet on the ground. What's happening inside those studios. And I think that was another, big one, that they actually had skin in the game, as well as being a leadership, being a franchisee of other franchisors. That really helped us grow and do things the right way.
That's amazing. I was recently at a conference, and I'm just trying to remember. I think the stat was that 84% of companies don't make it past 10 units, franchise companies. And so that's just mind blowing to me. And I also, just because I know you a little bit, I know that you also have some strong core values. Do you think that plays into your growth, that you've had these strong core values that everybody in the company lives and breathes?
Yeah. I think that with core values, if you surround yourself, with other people who have, the same kind of values that you have, when you're growing, you're going to grow in the right way. So, we talk a lot about what our core values are, just to make sure that, we're all on the same page. And when we look to add people to the team, when we do our evaluations for our team, we go over what these core values are with everybody, and, just make sure that they're on the same page with everything. And they're aligned with the same values that we are. So our core values are passion, authenticity, and work ethic. And I think that, it trickles down not only from our core staff, but, inside of our studios too. And if you don't have, happy clients, or nobody's happy. So, we just make sure that, I think we're all on the same page, because it is important to us. And, when we talk about passion, it's not just, you have to realize it's just not eyelashes. Like that's not what we are. It's really about being part of your community. It's believing in what we're doing, that we're changing lives. We say changing lives one lash at a time. It's not just about, it's about making money, but you have to have that passion behind it too. And that's when it really, shows to other people. And that's what makes it more believable if you can have that passion. And then the same with authenticity is just being authentic and owning your mistakes, being true to yourself and your brand. That's important to us too. And then, of course, just, the work ethic is, think about the not like the brand is everything, but just, think about the integrity and everything that we're trying to do and around the brand as well. And put that first before you start to make other decisions on what it is. So we talk about it a lot in our meetings. We do shout outs when somebody's doing one of those, falling in one of those categories. So we talk about it a lot. And what's nice is when you start to back out of it, and you see that it's still happening and the boss is not there and they're already doing it. I had we were interviewing for a new corporate lash trainer, and I was talking to my manager who was interviewing, and she said, and I asked her, well, tell me about yourself. And the candidate was, talking about, what she did in her work. And she's like, no, I want to know you personally. And she was like, oh, me. And she kind of giggled. And my manager said, yeah, we really care about, work-life and balance and about you here at Deka Lash. And when she told me that, I was like, see, that's what happens when it starts trickling down and people are following it and you're not even around. That's when, you've got that good, core values in the company and the right people in the right seat.
It's not just that thing in a book on a binder on the shelf. It's actually happening. That is so awesome. I love that story, especially again, right now, there's it's a little tougher to get employees, but people that talk about how tough it is, I'm like, have you created a good work environment that makes people want to work there? And that's core values has a lot to do with that. I love that you have that and that. I can't believe how many companies have core values that they don't really embody and they're not true to what they are. What I love about this is that I can tell it's really true. Like the passion you explained, it's not just passion for lashes itself, it's passion for the community, passion for empowering women and all the things that the passion. And then what I love about the authenticity core value is that it sort of balances, I guess, the idea that, like, if anybody would ever think, well, being lashes and beauty is about vanity, it's not. You're very clear here. It's not about vanity. It's about empowering and confidence. And by having a core value of being yourself, I don't know. I just love the way that kind of offsets if anybody would ever have that concern,
Yeah.
And then the work ethic obviously is critical. This is awesome to hear that you have those, really strong core values. And I think that segues into, well, first of all, a lot of the audience that listens to this podcast are people thinking, could I maybe be a franchisee? Like, should I think about this? And they've never thought about it. And I love, this is a very modern concept. I love that the world is opening up to all kinds of different things that are different concepts that are using the franchise model. It's not all quick service restaurants anymore. And that, there's more purpose driven and then sort of more female focused. So I wanted to just add that in here to make sure that people that are listening understand, like, you really should reflect on whether you could do this if you're thinking about it, because you probably can. However, you don't want just anybody becoming a franchisee, because you don't want somebody to fail. Obviously, you're not just trying to take their money and grow the brand. You want people that are going to, be successful for their sake. And I imagine you're looking for franchisees across both the US and Canada.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So if somebody's listening to this and trying to think, I wonder if I would be a good franchisee, if I would be, able to do this, what are some of the traits that you see in your top performing franchisees?
Well, to owning your own business and being a franchisee, being part of a system is you really get to like lead and inspire a team, which, I think is really a cool thing to do. And it's a good way like to give back. It makes you, feel good. Um, I also like right since the pandemic also, there has been proven that like 80% more people now are more like want to do things for self-care more than ever. And what better time to get into a business like this where this basically is self-care. It's you're taking time for yourself, and you're doing something that makes you feel good. And that's all part of this new movement where we've learned to do something for yourself and to take that time and to do it. So as far as franchising and getting this kind of business, I think there's this is a great time. And then I think just realizing that the top performers are they're big in their communities. They are involved in what they do. Of course, they believe in what we're doing. Women make a big piece of this business too. A lot of our top franchisees there's a woman involved. And if it's a power couple where, the husband's there as a support, because it is nice to have support, a family member behind you to support you. But there's also, there's top franchisees who they're women. They are, all by themselves doing this awesome job and creating this team of other women underneath them, and inspiring that group. So it's, it is really a woman based when you think about who we employ, which are, 99% women. Our clientele is same, mostly all women. So, this is a job that is easy to go into, or not a job, it's a business, right? As a woman to walk into and feel very confident, I think, and because you're surrounded by other women, which, that's the best part about it. I think that you can, uplift each other and then just being part of a franchise system in general, just the support that you get on the back end, that it's, it's you have to work, of course. I mean, this still is your business at the end of the day, but the support that you have around you, not only from the corporate team, but the other franchisees, I mean, you couldn't get that, being a single owner of anything. It wouldn't be that easy at all. So, yeah.
I want to
I answer that question. I feel like I rambled a little bit.
No, that's what we
I'm
want.
sorry.
No, you gave lots of good. What I'm going to do here is just kind of summarize a couple things just to make sure I heard you correctly. So, starting off with the wanting to lead and inspire. I love that you pointed that out, because when I was 25 and became a franchisee, which I always again think is funny. Female 25-year-old now, boss's daughter. And I had a couple of men working for me. One of them was twice my age. So back to kind of this female male thing. But one of the things that I think happened to me, so we were ready to expand the franchise over to Vancouver Island, the last place in Canada that we hadn't expanded yet. And just because it would require a ferry shipping the product over and stuff. And my dad was like, we're ready to put stores over there on the island. And if it looks like a bit of a tough market. So if anyone can do it, you should be able to do it, because you kind of live and breathe M&M meat shops. And so I was like, okay, I'll go do that. But then I think what really shocked me was, oh my gosh, now I have to like lead a team of people. And I think I was a bit unprepared for that. Not to say that like I didn't fail because of it, because there was support there. Back to also what you said, like there's support there, but recognizing that you're going to be leading people. And do you have the right DNA to be a leader? Not, again, you don't have to have been a leader, but you kind of look at your history and go, do I tend to naturally step up? And am I open to learning how to do that? So I just want to emphasize that was a key trait that you mentioned, obviously the hard work. I want to go back to the communities. I think one of the mysteries to people that haven't become a franchisee yet and are thinking about it is like, how do I get business? Like, I'm going to pay for marketing maybe, but when you hear this thing about getting out into the community, could you just give a few examples of things that your top performing franchisees do in their communities that brings people in?
Yeah, I think it's working with other like business owners within the plaza that you're in. A lot of networking events too. So getting involved in any charity events that are there. There's always sports, that they're looking for any kind of donation, whether it's a Chinese auction or a banner or something that you can put up at a place. Communities, I feel, really take to businesses that are willing to give back in that aspect. And they're likely to start believing in that business because you're believing in the community. So I think just getting involved that way, always carrying a business card or something on you to, just leave as a little note behind, after you have a conversation with somebody, where they can reach you or to remind them, what you have. I think that's another thing that they're just, really just promoting themselves and talking as much as they can about their business. And then doing partnerships with that. Other businesses are so happy to work with you. They know what it's like. You're not competing with them. You're not doing the exact same thing. It's a compliment to their business. So for us, for instance, being in the beauty industry, if you look at any kind of fitness, brands, that's great. Nails, salons, those work really well to partner up with. And we've sponsored classes for certain places where we give free sets away. I know that they've done that, but raffle baskets, that part of the community is really big.
Wow, that's a lot of awesome ideas there. And when you say partner with, say, like a fitness studio, or what would be an example of how, when you say that, like, what would the offer? Maybe you offer an opposite, like you offer each other services. Yeah, maybe you can explain.
Yeah, so we've done it a couple different ways. So, like for instance, if you come in on a Wednesday, and let's just use Pure Barre for an example, on a Wednesday class, you're entering in to win a raffle for free eyelashes. So whoever's signing up that class, then they get their name pulled and they have that chance to win. Or they sponsor a challenge. Maybe it's a fitness brand and they're doing this challenge and everybody's signing up for the challenge. And when you do, you get these things for free or a discount for free. You participate in that and to bring people into the door. A number one way that we get people in the door is not necessarily paid advertisements. It is referrals. So the more people you can get in the door, they refer other people, and then it just starts to become very organic at that point.
That's awesome. This is just one of my favorite topics, is community marketing, because I think that a lot of people don't realize how easy it actually is. And like you said, carry the card on you, like just hand the card out, and you could have I remember I would sometimes put, like, I'll give you a free pie if when you come in, like I'd have a note on there and it would stop it. So then they'd be like, oh, the owner gave this to me.
Yeah.
So
I know we had to go back and we looked at our marketing when we go through our business training. So when somebody signs up and then they go through the whole business training, and we were looking at it, it was all about social media and pay-per-click and Google. And it was like, wait, we need to talk about, just just the grassroots, like, what are you doing in your community? Because, you think like, oh, that, makes so much sense, but until sometimes you kind of hear it, then it clicks. And that was, in the beginning for me, I built my whole business that way. It was just, something that we did. And like you said, when they hear from the owner or the service provider and they're talking about it and you feel that passion, people appreciate that. And they're like, yeah, I want to come in there.
Totally. And like the charity stuff, like they want to support you back and they feel guilty if they don't. So it's good all around. And I was going to say that some people think of a franchise as a corporate chain, and they don't understand that these are local owners and
still small business owners. Yeah.
I love what you said. Like, it's like become known as, I'm Susan from Deka Lash. Like, everybody in town knows you're Susan from Deka Lash. And then when they they think about lashes, they're going to think about you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that a lot of, often even just, I work with a lot of different franchisors, and they'll say, like, we're trying to put together, improve our marketing plans for our franchisees. And I'm like, well, what are you doing right now? And it always comes back to the things that work the best are the community marketing. Like, you don't have to spend a ton of money on advertising. You can make more money if you're just willing to get out there in the community.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And I guess that's kind of answers. I was going to also ask, like, just what do you specifically look for in new franchisees? But I guess we kind of covered that. Unless there's anything you want to add to that. We talked about the core values and so somewhat of a leadership perspective, the willing to work hard, community, passion for community. Is there anything else that you look for in prospective franchisee?
No, I mean, I think that, probably sums it up. I did want to add that, in addition to, the community that we work on, a part of Lashes, that we are part of two other great organizations that we belong to. That is one is called One Love. And that is where we host classes within our lash artist community. And the idea behind One Love is if you can teach people how to, that's one thing we're not taught in school, right? Is how to love. And if you can get to young people and teach them about healthy relationships, healthy friendships, and get to them at a young age, and that it will help build a better community and better relationships long term. And it was built out of a tragedy that had happened, and from Yardley was the person, but it was her boyfriend. They were in college. They were just in a bad relationship, and the foundation was found out of that. So we started doing that, which I think is another way that we can just find ways to give back to the community outside of making women feel good with lashes and that. And then Wands for Wildlife is the other one that we do as well. And that is all of our lash brushes and stuff that is, we set those aside and we send those off to Wands for Wildlife. And that's where it's a way that we can just make a bigger impact, I think, in a smaller way, but yet in a larger way that we are trying to do with as Deka Lash too in the community and around the world. So just wanted to add that, nice little cause in that we have those two charities and organizations that we belong to as well.
That's awesome. I'm just thinking about all, like, you're following the formula for success as a franchisor. And I feel like I can say that because I saw it in my family business where we got to almost 500 locations. And I've over the years reflected on what was it that my dad knew and that we did different, and all the things you're saying. It's the community marketing. It's getting the right franchisees. It's the charities, the giving back. Like it's that corporate responsibility I think we have when we are successful in business. And what I always hear loud and clear from franchisees is that the best community marketing is when you give back without expecting anything back. It's more of it's like an act of service. So that's what I'm hearing in what you're saying, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got just a couple minutes left. There's two areas I want to go. First of all, just back to this idea that a person that, I see a lot of women and younger men and even maybe more men that are in a corporate job realizing I can be a franchisee. I can own a small business. And this is why I think I'm so excited about these interviews I get to do as a guest host for the CFA, is to really help people realize to get over the roadblocks and believe that they can actually do it. So you mentioned before that it is common in your brand, there are women who are partnered with their husband, but they're more the face of the brand, and maybe the husband's supporting in the background. But I think you also mentioned there's some that are completely on their own. And is that because they have the franchisor as support? Maybe if just talk a little bit about the two different sides of that.
Yeah. So normally when it is a husband and wife team, the wife is the face of the company. She's the one who's in the studio. She's the one talking to the lash artist. We've had times where it was the wife who wanted to be, it was her idea, but the husband becomes just as passionate as she does. So it's like that's when they become like this super couple in the background. But generally the husband's working on the numbers, that piece of the KPIs and the stuff on the back. And then the wife, is, like I said, more the face of it and more of the fun, I call it the fun part, because the numbers and all that are, when you have to crunch numbers all day, it's nice when somebody can just show you those numbers. But, normally that's like how that dynamic works. But then we have just the powerhouse, woman who is coming in and doing it all, and very relatable. Sometimes, also is a consumer herself. So she kind of understands and gets the whole process of what it is, and can really relate and build a really good team, because that's huge. It's the culture, we try to build here at corporate, but it's, the team and the culture that you're able to build in that studio to retain those people that you hire and who become your family and help you grow. And so it's, building that relationship, I think, and just doing little things like dropping off lunch and sending them thank yous. And, when you have your team meetings, to, like I said, bring in Rita's frozen ice, just those little things that, you show. And I think as women, we're generally compassionate and we're caregivers anyway. So that a lot of that comes natural, that we're able to like have that intuition to just do those things where, not all men think that way. I don't want to stereotype it, because there are plenty that do, but a woman's touch is nice. And I think when you have that in there, that it really makes a difference.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've seen that women have a lot of natural traits that lend to being successful in this small business environment. And I just want to check in, like when you say powerhouse, I would imagine there's women that come in sort of, you don't realize they're going to be, and they don't realize they're going to end up being a powerhouse, right? Like it's not like, oh, you'll only be successful if you come in as a powerhouse. It's like you come in and you realize, oh my gosh, like I naturally can do this. And it sounds like that happens a lot.
Yes, it does. And that again, being part of the system and being part of a franchise, we've gone through a lot of those blood, sweat, and tears, and came up to, now where it's a turnkey business. So, you don't have to have all of that knowledge, before you come in, because we've built that for you. So if you come in and have the passion for the business and for passion for being your own boss and leading a team, then, that's really what's important. First, we look at the person, and then we, then we look at, okay, what can they do? But it's really about those, again, core values. If you have that behind you and that's what you want to do, then, you have the support of the system to help get you there.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's the beauty of it, is that you have that support. Sounds like I'm just hearing so many good things about the way that you support your franchisees and listen to them and communicate and the core values. So I'm starting to think maybe I need to be the one that opens a Deka Lash in Victoria. I'm getting tempted here. Actually, one very last question is, does the franchisee need to do lashes?
No, actually, I don't. I mean, we maybe have two that do lashes that came in as an owner, but no, never. That really very unlikely that they actually do lashes.
Okay, it just hit me that I should clarify that, because if someone's like, I love the idea, but I can't imagine doing the lashes. That's not what this is about. This is about being a small business owner and leading the team of people that do the lashes. Is what I'm hearing.
That's right. Yep. Correct.
Awesome. Okay. I said one more, but I'm going to give you one more if we can answer this one quickly. So what advice do you have for prospective franchisees that might be considering joining franchising right now?
What advice do I have? I mean, I would think, just if you're thinking about it, find out more information. That's the one thing I think that people regret is if, they want to do something, but they never really act on it or do anything about it. So, I would just say to get more information and, don't think that you can't do it, because you can. And we have a proven system here on our end that shows the growth that we have and the success that we have. So believe in yourself, and if this is something that you're passionate about, you want to take your life in your own hands and control your destiny, then I would go ahead and get more information and give it some serious thought, because it's definitely, I think, ultimately, this should be the best decision that you've ever made in your life, is to become your own boss and a business owner. And yeah.
Yeah, it does take that little bit of a leap, but I think you're right. The more information you get, you'll know if it's the right thing for you or not. And the franchisor, you and any others out there, will guide you along and help you to figure that out, so you're not alone. And that's the whole beauty of franchising.
That's right.
So Jennifer, this has been awesome. I feel like we could certainly go on and on for another hour or two, but thank you for your time today. I know you've got a lot going on, and really, really appreciate it and all the insights you've shared.
No, well, thank you. This was fun. I know. I feel like we definitely could go on and talk. So, no, I appreciate you, taking the time out to hear my story and learn a little bit more about Deka Lash. And yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.